Okay, if you see here, I have done the 3 rows of 4 sets on each side, on all the 4 sides. Okay, I have done this one side sleeve just to show you what I'm planning to do. Okay, so what we are going to do now is we are going to sew this up together and start the sleeve. One more thing is, this sleeve is optional. If you want this vest as a sleeveless one, you can just do what we are going to do now, this border row of 2 rounds of half double crochet, and you can be done with it, and do the same on this side to make a neck border also from all the way till here. Okay, we'll do this at last. Okay, now if you want the sleeve, I have done exactly the same pattern as we have started from here. After the 2 rounds of half double crochet, after the ribbed pattern, we have done 2 rounds of half double crochet and started this pattern, right? So this is what I have continued here also. Since I had 3 repetitions in here, I have done 3 repetitions of the same pattern. Okay, and finally I have attached the rib. So this is what we are going to do. So in order to join these two, you can either use a yarn needle and sew them up, or you can use a slip stitch also. But either way, you have to do it in the inner side, not on the outer side, so that we won't be seeing this bulging stitch on the outer side. Okay, I have done slip stitch, so that's what I am going to do now. There are lots of tail ends which all will be covered in the sleeve border. Okay, so now I am taking the inside here. Now what I'm going to do is do the chain 1 first with the same color yarn what you have done. First do a chain 1. Without the chain 1, if you do, it will be the slip stitch won't be secured. Okay, so after the chain 1, use both the loops in both the sides, which is 4 V's. Here the 2 V's and here the 2 V's. Okay, so we are going to use all the 4 loops and do the slip stitch. Don't worry about these borders, these tail ends. We will be using this, we'll be sewing them up when we are doing the sleeve. So just continue the slip stitch. We have 8 stitches, so we will be having 8 slip stitches. Don't tighten those up too much. Okay, so this is the last slip stitch, and here and finally do the chain 1 and take this out. Okay, don't worry about these tail ends. We'll be covering this up in the border row. Okay, so now if you see in the other side, in the right side, we won't be seeing the bulging stitches. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, I'm going to do the border round. One thing you have to note is, we have to have a even number of stitches in order to start this pattern, right? So what we are going to do is, we know there are 8 stitches in here, and in each double crochet in here we are going to do 2 stitches each. So it will be no matter how many stitches, it will be always the even number. Okay, so always start for any sweater. If you are making the sleeve, always start the sleeve in the underarms, so that you won't be seeing the chain 3s or any other slip stitches on either side of the sleeve. It will be only in the underarm. Okay, so chain 1 do a half double crochet in each stitch. And this will be a little bit harder round because we are going to control all the tail ends and then do. Okay, now you have to make a stitch in here in the one double crochet in which the next round is there. Okay, so one from here and one from here will always give us a even number. Okay, now when we start in the sides, we'll be doing 2 double crochets in each, 2 half double crochets in each double crochets. Okay, I'm not counting the stitches, I'm just doing 2 stitches in each so that I know we'll be having even number of stitches. Okay, make sure you have the tail ends from the sewing and from the slip stitch, everything buried under the half double crochet. The reason we are doing half double crochet as a border or starting is half double crochet are thicker, but at the same time it won't be much bigger. Okay, so it will hold on to all the tail ends, but at the same time it won't be bulging or it won't be having any gaps or it will be secure than single crochet. Okay, so now here comes our war with tail ends. 1, 2. These are the tail ends because we have done the row wise in this in order to have the right side on all the rows. Okay, one, two. If you prefer, you can always weave in those tail ends on the on these rows, but I prefer this way because I know this is the secure way to weave in the tail ends. Okay, the last row. 1 and 2, and don't forget this stitch because we have covered this stitch in the other side, right? So do a stitch in there and 1 stitch in each stitch of the row. All right, so now count how many stitches you have had. You might have different number of stitches because if you are doing for a bigger size, you will be having 2 repetitions of these, right? So just count the stitches and make sure it is even number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Okay, Now what I'm going to do is, how many stitches I'm having, what is that multiple, and I'm going to decrease that on that stitch exactly. For example, if I have since I have 42 stitches, I am going to decrease every 6th stitch. Okay, you see here 1 2 3 4 5 and the 6th 7th stitches I have decreased. So that is what I am going to do now. Chain 1, 1 2 3 4 5 and in the 6th stitch I am decreasing. Pull up a loop from 1 and 2 stitches and then pull through all 3. So if you have 45 stitches, you can decrease every 9th stitch or 5 stitches. Okay, so that is how we know we are decreasing it right. 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. Okay, so by the end of this round I'll be having 36 stitches, and which is an even number. Then I'll be starting the same pattern how we have started here. Chain 3 and the same, and double crochet in the same stitch, and skip 1 stitch and 2 double crochets in the next stitch. That is what I'm going to continue 1 2 3 repetitions, because that is how many repetitions my sweater is having. Okay, so do this. I'll meet you at the end of this 15th round, and we will do this ribbed pattern, and we will join this and do the neck border. Okay, see, I've completed the 15 rounds of the sleeve. Again, you don't have to do the sleeve, it's completely optional. You can stop with this sleeveless pattern in the border round. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, we are going to repeat the same thing what we have done in the beginning for 2 times for 2 sleeves. Okay, here also I have done 9 stitches in each ribbed and in each row, and start the next row only in the back loop to form the ridge pattern. Okay, just a minute. Here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and in the second chain from the hook in the back bump work 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, now chain 1, turn your work, and only in the back loop do the same. 1 2 3. So this is how we form the ridge. And how many rows you are going to do is, what I have done is, I have 36 stitches in this pattern. Okay, 36 stitches. So I have done the half of it, 18 rounds. I have 18 rows I have done with this cuff, because only our fingers, it has to go through only the wrist for whomever we are doing, right? So if it is too big, it won't be as good as the pattern. So what I've done is, I have done half of the rows, so that when I do the border row, I have done one stitch in each row, and in the next row I have done an increase, just like what we have done here. In the first row we have done one stitch in each row, and in the second row we have increased, right? The same way, after 18 rows I have increased, I have done one border row and one increase row, and then I have attached the same in the with the stitch. So in the next increase row I'll be having 36 stitches, so I'll be attaching these two with one stitch in one stitch. Okay, so continue this till you need your own ribbed size, how much you need according to the sweater what you have done. And after this I'll meet you at the end to do this border row and the joining. Okay, and if you don't do the sleeve, if you just want to have it as a sleeveless one, the one thing we have pending right now is the neck border. Okay, we are going to repeat the same thing what we have done on this side for the border, which is start from any stitch in here, chain one, do a half double in each stitch. Okay, when we come here, don't forget the single stitch in the previous row where we have this set. Okay, and then like how we have done 2 stitches in each double crochet on this side, we are going to do the same. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and this is where we are going to weave in the tail ends what we have used for the joining. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then don't forget this stitch, and then continue one stitch in each stitch. Okay, so this is what I'm going to continue. If you don't have to stop in one round of neck, but if it is too small, there is no point in having the sweater as big as possible, and if the sweater is not going into the head, right? So I'm going to stop this in the one single border row. But if you have done the sleeveless sweater, I prefer you do 2 rounds of border on this side also, just like this one, so that it will be it will look similar. Okay, so continue this and do the cuff also with the ribbed pattern. I'll meet you at the end, and we'll do the border rows of the cuff and join that to the sleeve. Okay. Okay, if you see, I have done 18 rows of half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, sets of 2, which is 18 rows. Okay, now we are going to join this just like we join this rib. Okay, we are going to join slip stitch, chain 1, and you close this and you do the slip stitch with the back loop of the front side and the front loop of the back side. Okay, so now insert into the first stitch on both sides, do a slip stitch. So this way we don't actually have a stitch shown or a bulging pattern. We'll just do the normal on the go joining. Okay, right. Now in the last stitch we do this. Okay, now since we have done the even number of rows, this tail end where we started the first slip knot, it will be on the upper side for us to weave in. Okay, so now chain 1 after the last slip stitch, chain 1 and do a half double crochet, 1 in each row. Okay, so we have 18 rows, so we'll be having 18 stitches. Use both the loops when we do the border, just like what we have done in the starting. Okay, so after this first round, how we have done 18 rows is because we have done the half of the total number of stitch what we have here. So I had 36, so that's why I have done 18 rows to make 18 stitches in the border. So for the next round what I will be doing is I'll do 2 stitches in each stitch to have 36 stitches, which is equal to the sleeve, so that we can join the cuff with the sleeve or sleeve yes. Okay, so this is what I am doing. 18 stitches all the way round. Even though if you have more number of stitches than what the total number of rows what you had, don't worry, we can always adjust the same in the next round when we do the increase. Okay, so it's not any hard and fast rule that you have to have this many number of stitches, then only the pattern will sit correct. It's nothing like that. Okay, so now since I have reached my last row, I'll do the slip stitch into my first stitch. You see, that is why this will not be same size as that of the sleeve, so that is why we are going to increase right now. Okay, chain 1, do 2 stitches in each stitch of the previous row. Make sure you can do whatever adjustment you have to do to reach the same number of stitches what you have here. Okay, So I'll meet you at the end of this round, and then we'll join this cuff to the sleeve. Okay, if you see, I have done the second round of increase, in which I have 36 stitches. Okay, so now we are going to join this in the sleeve. So now I'm going to join this with the single crochet, so that we'll have a secured joining. Okay, even though if you sew it up together, it will always have a bulging, because we have increased the second round, right? So instead of sewing it up, we are just going to have the single crochet joining, so that it will be a perfect finishing. Okay, so now after slip stitch, chain 1, join from anywhere. Okay, and we are not going to use only one loop in anywhere. We are going to use all the 2 loops on both the sides, either in the cuff or in the sleeve. We are going to use all the 4 loops in here, and we are going to weave in the tail end also. So all the 4 loops you just take and do the slip stitch. Since we have equal number of stitches in both, we are just going to insert and pull through in all the stitches, each of the stitches. Okay, this will be one of the best patterns you can do without even thinking or counting or worrying about the stitches. As long as you have started with the perfect size in the bottom, here you're done for the, you're all set for the whole size. Okay, you might have seen multiple patterns with this sweater vest. When you have a ribbed cuffed sleeve, it will be working from bottom to top, like how we have worked here, bottom to top. Like that, the sleeve also might have been worked from bottom to top. I especially prefer not to do that, because for 3 reasons. One is, this is easy when we work on top to bottom, because it's gonna be the same pattern as the sweater, so we don't have to think anything of the counts and everything. And joining here in the wrist will always be easier than joining here in the underarms, because here we don't have any knots or joinings or anything, because we just work on the flow. So this underarms will not be having any knots or unwanted bulging for the kids or whoever is gonna wear that. Okay, so always working the sleeve from top to bottom, and joining the cuffing at the end is always easier. And the third reason is, joining here, we know how many stitches we have to have in order to join it perfectly, right? See, we had only 18 rows in here, and we have joined here, we have increased here correctly, so that we can only 1 row of increase, so that we can join 1 in each stitch all together. We don't have to increase much or worry about the stitch. But if you do that if you are working sleeve from bottom to top, you might not know how many stitches you have to have here, or how many rows you have to do in order to reach that. And if you try to do it on the go, the sleeve will not be of perfect shape. And I am literally afraid of having an uncomfortable sleeve for any vest, especially that is not having any opening like this. Okay, so that is why I always prefer working up the sleeve bottom to top. And another reason is, you don't have to do this cuff, ribbed cuff at all. Okay, this is just for the pattern maintenance, what we have here and here. But what you can do is, since we have done 2 half double crochets here and 2 half double crochets in the neck, the same thing we can have here. You can either do one more set here and end it with the 2 half double crochet rounds as a border. That's it. This total cuff link is up to you if you want to do that. Otherwise you can just have a normal half double crochet or single crochet border. Okay, see, I am talking a lot, but I am not even counting or checking the stitches, because I know it's just one stitch in each stitch. That's it. And choose your color wisely when you do this pattern, because it's a perfect pattern for any kid or anyone any of your loved ones. You don't even have to have the sequence of 5 rows in each. If you want a smaller stripe, you can do 2 rows in one color and it will give you a totally drastic look. And if you are planning for a rainbow sweater, this will definitely be a perfect pattern for that, because you can always have the rainbow pattern starting from here to 2 rows in each. So you can just use all the 7 colors, which will be of a perfect finishing and a great gift. So yes, we are almost done. Only 2 more stitches. Okay. And then the last stitch, and do a slip stitch into the first stitch as always, and fasten this yarn. Here. And you can always weave in the same side because it's a single crochet, so weaving in will not be insecure. Okay, so here no place we have used the yarn needle to stitch. Everything goes with the slip stitch or a single crochet, so I know it is more secure when we do this instead of using a yarn needle and sew them up. And all the tail ends, what we have, multiple tail ends, especially in these rows where we have worked on rows, everything is weaved in and everything is falling into the place. See, I am really happy how it turned out. I hope you too. Please try this out and show your post your pictures in our Facebook group, or tag me at Hello Arts in Instagram and share your pictures. Choose your colors as much as you like. It's your own sweater, your unique creation, so you can use your imagination as wild as possible. Okay, so try this out. Comment your suggestions or comment your output in the comment section. Please share it with your friends. Help me grow this channel. Your love and support is what helping me to make more and more videos and keep this channel alive. So I need your support. Please do share it as much as possible, and subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so that you never miss any video. Thank you. Bye bye.